Here we have the all-new 2023 Chevrolet Colorado. This comes in the standard crew cab configuration and the LT trim level. This color is radiant red tint coat, and then we get jet black cloth interior. And then for the powertrain, we get that new 2.7 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. That's made it to an 8-speed automatic transmission. And let me just say, this radiant red is beautiful in person. But as we come around to the front end here, halogen headlamps, and then they're not on, we get LED fog lights as part of one of the packages we have here, and I'll show you that sticker here momentarily. But love the trim around the front end here, having this galvanized gray, and the rest of that black plastic just makes it look more rugged in my opinion. Speaking of which, here we have these 18-inch aluminum wheels, and these 18s are just beautiful in my opinion. We get passive keyless entry on the front doors. And then we have our power door lock controls here. And then we have one-touch automatic up and down for the driver's side and express down for the other 3 windows. We have our power mirror controls. We can turn those on and off and just adjust either side with that dial. Bottle holder here, little side pocket there. The brightness for the gauge cluster can be adjusted right there. And then our hood release right here. And there's our manual driver seat, so we can pump the seat up and down, move the seat bottom back and forth, and then move the seat back and forth as well. But I had that seat up front adjusted for someone of my size, being 6'3" with longer legs. So that's the leg room there, and I've done a review of a couple other Colorados, and that's still something that GM is not fixed yet in terms of just getting more leg room for the back. But here we have our rear AC vents, USB-C charge port, cup holders. And I do think that a lot of it has to do with it not really being an issue to small truck buyers. They're not really concerned about the back seat room, because if they wanted that, they just get a full-size pickup. Well, there's our fuel filler. And again, the radiant red tint coat is a beautiful color on this truck. And there's like the back end there. Then we have the easy lift and release tailgate here. So that just folds down slowly. And then we have our spray-on bed liner here. And I'll show you how much that costs as an option when we look at that sticker as well. But as we come back around to the rear passenger side, we do get that seat back pocket behind there. And then we also have a sliding rear window that we can manually pull. And then a huge shout out to Chevrolet Buick GMC of Murfreesboro for allowing me to review this truck today. I'll leave a link below in the description. We've got pretty good lighting here for the sticker, so y'all pause anywhere you need to. But $39,135 is that sticker price. And then we just have the manual seat back and manual seat back bottom, or manual seat bottom we can pull back and forth there. I like the trim on the dash, and then glove compartment. Decent storage for a mid-size truck. But as we come around to the front here, there's that 2.7 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. And I'm just gonna turn the fog lights on really quickly so you all can see, and I'll show you how to get that going here. So just go into the headlamps here, and then we can turn on the front fog lights. And I'll get into what I think about having to do that here in a minute. But those are the LED fog lights there. Let's go ahead and hop in the driver's seat. And let's talk about this interior. So I will say I love the leather wrap steering wheel here. Feels nice. Looks pretty good. It's a little filthy, but that can be cleaned up. Just a little dust. But over here, I'll get back to that in a minute. So the way this radio is set up is very weird, but as you get used to it, you kind of start to appreciate it a little bit. Now first we got to set all this up, go through here for the Google Maps. And I love the Google Maps. Only thing is it has a subscription, but the good thing is you can only just pay for it when you need it. And then start typing in search destinations or use voice recognition, and it's pretty quick on its feet. Starts giving you destinations that you fully type out the words or the address. Traffic patterns and all that are there, and you can zoom in and out pretty easily too. But we get AM, FM, XM radio along with Bluetooth audio, and then we get wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto compatibility. And then to connect your phone, pretty easy to do. Walks you right through it on the screen. You do everything through your phone for the most part. And then these are rated to tow like up to 7,700 pounds when properly equipped. I'll leave the tow capacity in the description though. So we can do the light test and go through our checklist there. We turn this down a little bit so it's not spraying in the mic. And then for the climate controls, we do get dual zone automatic here. And I do like being able to use the screen or the buttons down below. The system, the graphics are nice, and it's nice to be able to kind of do that. It makes it look so futuristic, and then you can decide where you want the airflow to go or turn everything off and make it in auto mode, and you can do auto there and then turn that off by adjusting fan speed, close the vents off, and you have all that here as well. So down, up, and then you can turn the whole system off by hitting this button here, and then fan direction there, so on and so forth. Now down here, we can hit this button, roll all the windows down, auto stop toggle, hazards, lane keep assist with lane departure, and then we do have an aux input here if you want to go ahead and put a light bar or something like that. And then we have a USB-C, USB-A charge port there. And there's our backup camera. Guidelines follow as we turn the steering wheel. But back up here to these vehicle settings, it's just, I'm glad that they have it here on the side, but it does take some getting used to. And then once you're used to it, it's a weird thing to get used to, you know? So having this here, all of your settings and whatnot are there. And then just having the fog lights and the rear window lock and the camera and the auto high beams, all that having a button, it looks cool, but it's not necessarily practical compared to every other vehicle that we're used to. But I guess it's just, that's how things are going to be in the future, so might as well get used to it now. And speaking of the settings, so we can go through here and then go through these system settings, and this is where you can change your language as well as your units of measurements if you want to go from US to metric. And then everything else is in there, pretty self-explanatory. And we have a volume knob here, you can click that for mute. And then for the shifter, pull the lever, reverse, neutral, drive, low gear, and you can manually shift on the shifter there, and it'll show you what gear you're in at the bottom part of that gauge cluster, which we'll get to that in a minute as well. Then you have your four-wheel drive controls. You either have four-wheel up or two-wheel, and then you have your auto mode there, and that'll differentiate between when you need what. And then you have an electronic parking brake, pull up to engage, to the brake, press down to disengage. Center console cubby space, removable tray. There's a 12-volt down there as well. And there's a view of the back seat from up here. OnStar and all that. And visor, we do have a mirror at least. And then to the left stalk, blinkers here. And then we have our windshield wiper controls. You can adjust that there, your intermittent, low and high. And then you can toggle your high beams there and flash there when the headlamps are fully on. And then we do have our windshield wiper fluid by pushing it all the way there. Cruise control, we can toggle that on and off, cancel, set and resume speed there. And then we have our forward collision alert gap adjust. We just toggle that down. And then audio shortcut there. We can pull up our radio media, and then we can use this as a scroll bar in that, or when we have the radio favorites up. And then Bluetooth controls. And then we can toggle the different views of the gauge cluster here. So not a lot of options, but I do like this one in particular. I can see the revs, And then I can also see my speed, and then I can see the oil temperature and then the transmission fluid and all that stuff. So that's a pretty good viewpoint there. And then I still have the gas meter down below while it's also showing me a readout as well, how many miles I have. The push button starts here, and then behind the steering wheel on the right side, volume controls up, down. Behind the steering wheel on the left side, we can go through the audio sources there, track lists and all that. Finally, here's the key fob. And next, let's take this Colorado LT out on the road for a test drive. So starting the test drive in this Colorado LT, pretty good driving dynamics for the most part, especially for a mid-sized truck. I like having the Turbo 4. You have all of that power at your disposal pretty quick. And I like the steering feel as well. I don't know if I've said this in my other reviews of this particular truck, but it makes a lot of sense. It's agile, but it's not super stiff, which is perfect for a mid-sized pickup in my opinion, especially if you're just gonna be doing light towing, light hauling, but mostly use it as an everyday driver. Now I'm gonna put it in low gear and see how it shifts. So downshifts pretty quickly. It's not necessarily snappy, but it does what you want it to for the most part, and if it can't, it'll let you know. But putting it back in a regular drive now, and traffic's pretty tight right now, so I have the lane keeping system on, but I'm gonna turn the cruise off. And then as we get up to speed here, wind noise is not bad. And then road noise is almost non-existent. But the wind noise kind of overpowers that. But the thing is, it's not necessarily intrusively loud, but I can definitely hear the insulation working against it, just blowing right through to me. But pretty quiet when not under hard acceleration, which is a plus as well. And I like the brake pedal feel too. Not too firm, but it's there when you need it, definitely. Now when it comes to competition for this truck, of course you have the Ranger, you have the Tacoma, you have the Frontier. I definitely think this is one of the better options now, but we'll see what happens down the road, as the Tacoma is supposed to get a refresh, and then so is the Ranger. I don't know what that was about, but I just like the powertrain here. The 2.7 has a lot of power. I mean, it has like, what, 310 horsepower, 430 pound-feet of torque, so crazy acceleration. And of course, I'm not gonna be able to necessarily floor it now as it's just getting broken in, but hopefully we'll be able to get a used one here in a year or two, and I'll be able to really put my foot into that one. But just know, after you break it in, you'll have plenty of power. And if you decide to break it in, a lot of the times that doesn't really mean much. Obviously don't thrash it, but you don't want to do that at 100,000 miles either. But this one here, I like how it's spec'd out. I want the LED headlamps. I want the newer front end look, like the loaded LT Trail Boss, or Z71. It's so many trims now, I don't even know what's going on, but I want that newer front end as opposed to this one. This one's okay, but me personally, I want those newer headlamps. I like the radio and everything though, the newer interior. I will say the Canyon Denali and the Canyon AT4 Premium, those interiors are crazy. They just did such a great job with those. And when I saw it for the first time at the auto show, I was so shocked because I'm just used to the more, I guess, minimalistic interiors in the Canyons, even in the top trims. Same thing with the Colorados, and they just did a fantastic job with that. And same thing here. I feel like they could have done a bit more, made a few more things more adjustable, but not much to complain about, I guess, as opposed to the older model. People are gonna miss that V6, but I like these 2.7 turbos. They have a lot of capacity for towing and they're quick. But a pretty impressive truck, especially to be under $40,000. And this will bring me to the end of my review of this 2023 Chevy Colorado LT.